So this week we're revisiting loving kindness or metta, the practice of wishing well-being to all. And perhaps, as many of you, especially those of you who've been part of the Sangha for some time, know, metta practice traditionally involves saying phrases, wishing well-being to groups of others or specific individuals. And it's recommended that we usually start with the easiest, going on to increasingly more difficult people or beings. Now, the easiest might be ourselves, but we might be fraught. So it may be a pet, a dear one, or a benefactor. And the phrases can include phrases like, may you be happy and well. May you be safe, free from harm. May you be healthy or your body support you with strength. May you live in peace and harmony. And we can be creative making those phrases our own. And that's the traditional practice to think those thoughts towards all beings, towards a variety of beings, from a dear one to a very difficult or challenging person. And as I've shared before, this type of metta practice has been a really important part of my practice for many, many years, a primary part and an essential part, both on and off the cushion. But I have to admit that recently, this has been a struggle for me. And that's perhaps why I've been so enjoying the review of the paramis that we've been doing over the past several weeks. This has really deepened my appreciation of how all the paramis are part of each other. They inter-are, to put it in Thich Nhat Hanh's words. And I really felt the presence of the other paramis coming into my cultivation of love and kindness for the last couple of weeks, recognizing how I need to be patient and generous with myself, with where my heart is at, and be discerning, use wisdom and honesty and truthfulness with myself about what it was that my heart needed in this moment, and what also might need to be renounced or released. My old stories, my conditioned reactions of shutting down and disconnecting, old patterns of gripping, clenching, over efforting, not applying the right energy in order to stay open hearted. And I revisited, since as Bill says, I can be a slow learner and I certainly need repetition. I revisited a poem I think I'd recently shared with the Sangha, How to Open Your Heart by Jeff Foster. And indulge me while I read it again, because it's been so important to me over the last many months and weeks. Do not try to open your heart now. That would be a subtle movement of aggression towards your immediate embodied experience. Never tell a closed heart it must be more open. It will shut more tightly to protect itself, feeling your resistance. A heart unfurls only when conditions are right. Your demand for openness invites closure. This is the supreme intelligence of the heart. Instead, bow to the heart in its current state. If it's closed, let it be closed. Sanctify the closure. Make it safe. Safe even to feel unsafe. Trust that when the heart is ready and not a moment before, it will open like a flower in the warmth of the sun. There is no rush for the heart. Trust the opening and the closing too, the expansion and the contraction. This is the heart's way of breathing. Safe, unsafe, safe, unsafe. The beautiful fragility of being human and all held in the most perfect love. So, honoring my heart where it's at in the moment, not forcing it into a state of loving kindness, but holding it with loving kindness wherever it's at. And what struck me, if my heart is feeling achy and vulnerable and wants to close in around itself, to care for itself, that's especially the time for love and kindness. That's a time to stay resolved, committed to holding myself kindly, especially when my heart is feeling closed off and shut down, especially when I may not be feeling very lovable, especially when others don't seem very lovable, and especially when the world may not be feeling very safe and lovable. And as Lee reminded us in reading the Metta Sutta, just like a mother protects and loves her only child, we don't love our children only when they're good or behaving perfectly. We love them when they need love. We love them when they've made mistakes, when they're having tantrums, when they're being cranky and difficult. This is when we call on resolve to start again. As members of the Sangha pointed out to Jay's request for listing our words, we resolve to start again and again. And just as we are starting a new year, we start again. And here's another poem that really resonated with me on this topic of new beginnings and starting again. Don't tell me about the end of the world. Tell me about the beginning of the world. 1,000 colors of sky wound in a raindrop, your wings in a tear, next summer's light on a brittle twig wrapped in a gray cocoon, self-healing fur in a mossy burrow, the blue egg waiting in a mother swirl of sticks, she also the shaper of galaxies. Don't tell me how it ends. Tell me how it begins, how this breath is given because you surrendered that one. And that's by Fred Lamott. So as one year ends and another begins, let me learn how to start again. Again and again, I need to remember to embody being kind and loving. And I need to be reminded that all the paramis are infused within loving kindness, and that loving kindness is infused into all of the paramis. And indeed, the importance of adding love and kindness to all my practice, adding a bit of sweetness or sukha, as Bill would say, or as he would probably sing to us, a spoonful of sugar helping the medicine to go down. And for me, the phrase love and kindness really resonated in some deeper way than loving kindness. Don't know why. It just did. Okay, that's interesting. Let me start there. Start with that. There, sweetheart. Here's a bit of love and kindness. Feel into that warmth and caring. No expectations, no requirements, nothing heroic. Release any need to take care of the world or anyone else in this new moment. Start again, just leaning toward opening, to cultivating more love and kindness in my life. I love you, especially if you're not ready now to attempt the grander vision of wishing loving kindness in that traditional way, even to the easiest people or yourself. Appreciate what sweetness there is in holding your aching heart kindly, looking at yourself just as you are with kind eyes. This not only seemed to integrate the paramis, but certainly and yet again reminded me of the core of Bill and Susan's teachings of cultivating time, caring, attention. I decided to give myself the gift of a day of love and kindness. I wasn't exactly sure what that meant, but my resolve was to play with that. I started with a yoga class and found myself being a bit less heroic, not having to push myself as much as I do, and truly savoring the ease of the practice. Throughout the day, I noticed more readily when stresses were creeping in, when I was clenching and tensing, and I was able to take a kind breath, release judgment, my inner critic, anxieties, and bring some love to my heart, to the task, or to the situation. I even found myself listening more kindly to others. Imagine that. Feeling a deeper connection and warmth. And during my sitting practice, I oriented toward and became more curious about bringing love and kindness to each breath, to each moment, and to notice more kindly when my focus wavered. This day was so delightful that I'm resolving to continue it throughout the new year. Not a New Year's resolution, but an opening to starting new each moment, sweetening my practice. So let's join each other in this moment and sweeten our practice as best we can. And sweetening, let the sweetening begin with sweetening our bodies, moving, stretching gently, as Susan would say, as if we're moving through water or jello, to be kind and gentle to whatever muscles we're moving around, softening, untangling, unknotting. Whatever movements feel sweet, comforting, opening, provide whatever you might need in this moment, and really attending to that. Not the automatic and what I call obligatories. Okay, let me twist, let me move. Attending with love and kindness to this movement, to this position, to this unraveling. And as you're ready, whatever time that takes, coming into some stability, some groundedness, and feeling a sense of heaviness perhaps settling into your base, allowing the ease of being held in this field of gravity. And allowing the breath to flow comfortably as it can in this moment. Perhaps noticing with a few deeper than usual breaths, spaciousness with breathing in, release and settling with breathing out. And feeling into the kindness and love of each breath. Each breath, an act of love and kindness. A reorienting towards caring attention. And when the mind wanders, returning again with love and kindness to this new breath, this new moment. appreciating, holding, and being held with love and kindness. And in the final few minutes, perhaps opening awareness to the sweetness of holding ourselves and each other in this space of love and kindness. Thank you all so very much. What a lovely start to